Right, so what time is it? Time to watch out for the Samsung Galaxy Watch. That was bad. That was really bad. I'm so sorry, guys, but let's get serious now. So, since the beginning of smartwatches, we kind of have expected a lot from them. We expect them to be able to do a lot and at the same time be simple enough to use. But we are not quite there yet. The Samsung Galaxy Watch is a perfect example of such a smartwatch. It is simple-ish and does a lot of things, yet falls behind our expectations. Let's see what the Samsung Galaxy Watch is all about. As far as the design goes, the Galaxy Watch is really elegant. It really looks like a wristwatch, and that's saying quite a lot. In a world where smartwatches tend to look like a smartphone on your wrist, I'm looking at you, Apple. Its round shape with the subtly placed buttons on the side looks good. But it's not that different from the last year's Gear S3 or the Gear Sport though. You get a choice between a 46mm model and a 42mm model. The 46mm model is bigger and has a lot of advantages over the smaller one. It has a bigger battery and a slightly larger display. However, all the other things are the same though. The Galaxy Watch has the same rotating bezel found in the Gear S3 or older Samsung watches, which is used to navigate as well. And that is pretty clever. Your finger won't block the small screen while scrolling or such. The one I have is a smaller 42mm model and it only weighs 49 grams. The rubber strap is also pretty comfortable and I had no problems keeping it on for 24 hours a day. There is just the right amount of heft with this stainless steel case, and if you look closely, you'll really appreciate the design. However, there's nothing eye-catching about it. It looks just like any other watch, and that's where the Apple Watch played well. It looks different. The Galaxy Watch is also IP68 water resistant for 50 meters, and this time it's designed to be swim-proof even with salt water resistance as well. There is not much to talk about on the display front though. It's a 1.3-inch display with a 360 by 360 resolution. The Super AMOLED panel is great, and that's one of the best things about Samsung smartwatches. The brightness of the watch is also commendable. It is quite visible at all times in the sunlight, indoors or wherever, thanks to its adaptive brightness feature. You also have the always-on display feature, but that chugs your battery like water, so I kept it off. Also, the screen has Gorilla Glass DX Plus protection on it. Samsung says it's uncrackable, and I believe them. This watch was abused a lot, and it took a lot of hits while playing football, but there was not even a scratch on it. While the larger 46mm model has a good 472 mAh of battery, that was not the case for me. For a very less difference in size, the difference in battery is huge. My 42mm unit came with only a 270 mAh of battery, and that was not very good. Samsung claims that even the smaller unit gives up to 3 days of battery life, but that is not so. For me, the battery lasted slightly over 2 days, and that was only when I had the always-on display turned off. If you keep it on, the battery life is very poor, and for a battery that size, charging time is also considerably long. It takes more than an hour to fully charge with its charging dock, that too with a micro USB port. Another thing is that if your phone comes with a small battery, be careful. Since the watch is connected to your phone at all times via Bluetooth, your phone's battery will drain a lot faster too. The watch runs on Tizen OS, Samsung's own operating system for its smartwatches, and that's for the best. The rotating bezel for navigation is Tizen's own little neat feature. You can also use your watch with non-Samsung devices and iPhones by just downloading an app, but the best experience is when you're connected to the S-series flagships or the Note series of Samsung. Specs-wise, there's also a 768 MB of RAM, and I guess that keeps the watch zippy as it is. Tizen OS also gives you a lot of watch faces to choose from, and as much as that can be overwhelming, all those alternatives with options to customize your own is very welcome. There are a lot of things packed into this watch, whether you use it or not. It's your notifications manager, health monitor, music player, etc. You can get all your phone's notifications on your watch, but of course there are limitations. It won't show any images sent to you. Also, if you want to reply to a message, you have to type letter by letter, and that is time consuming. It is easier to just get your phone and reply back. The watch also allows you to make calls via your phone, but if you have more than one SIM on it and you have not set a default, you will have to again choose on your phone. That kind of defeats the purpose, and if you carry your phone at all times with you, this is not a very useful feature. But the call quality is okay though. The most comprehensive feature is the health monitor though. It tracks your sleep, heart rate, breath, stress, etc. and the sleep tracker is pretty accurate too. Plus, it has 39 exercises that goes from simple walking all the way to various gym workouts like deadlifts and bench press. And some are accurate while others are not. For instance, the walking and running tracker was super accurate. It counts the number of steps walked down to the last step and doesn't miss even the casual 2-3 steps to the bed or sofa either. And it shows you how much calories you burned too. If you're doing arm curls or crunches, it keeps track of them very well. But for some exercises like push-ups or leg workouts, it counts the time rather than the number of reps. Of course, it has to do with the watch being on your hand. It can sense the movement of your watch on your hand for some exercises while not so much on others. And while I'm at it, there were instances when the watch wrongly tracked my movement. I was riding my motorbike, but the watch tracked as if I was cycling. And if you keep the always on display off, you need to bring the watch close to your face to wake it to see the time. Subtle movements won't register, and that can be pretty annoying. These issues were present in the Gear S3 as well, and it's still here. So this is something that Samsung really needs to work on. You can also manually log in your water or coffee intake, but who does that, right? I mean, maybe some who are really trying to get in shape or health conscious, but I rarely use it. Talking about other things I don't use, there's Bixby in this thing as well, and I don't even prefer Bixby on my phone, let alone on this watch. But I don't think a voice assistant on a smartwatch is really necessary, but if they had to put it on, maybe they should have gone with Google Assistant. The watch also supports Spotify, but if you want to listen to music normally, you have to transfer your music files from your phone to the watch, and the audio quality is good enough for a watch. Now, listening to music on your watch is not something you'll do often, but it is kind of fun while doing some small chores like cleaning your room or things like that. So, to sum up, what is the watch really about? It costs some $329 and it is pretty close to that in Nepal too. But I feel like while the watch does justify the cost, its usage does not. Well, yes, the watch looks great and is simple enough to use too, but it does some things that most of us won't even use, like at all. I mean, the health and fitness features are great, but there are fitness bands for a lesser price that does all the same things. And for all the other tasks, we use our phones anyway. Now, I'm not saying the watch is totally useless, because if you want a fancy smartwatch that does quite a lot of things, then go for it. It can even help save you from having to take your phone out every now and then. But if Samsung could have made a less fancy watch with basic features for like lesser price, maybe then it would be better, like maybe the J series of a watch for $100 or something. Now that would be interesting. For now, the Samsung Galaxy Watch feels more like a luxury, not a necessity. So this is a watch that's really smart, but right now it's ahead of its time. So that was it for our review of the Samsung Galaxy Watch. Thank you for watching. Namaste.